Welcome to Card Market Catalyst, your go-to source for everything related to football card investing. Whether you're tracking the latest market trends or looking for the next big prospect, we've got you covered. If you enjoy the insights, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the show, and follow us for all our future episodes.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tearing into Group D of the 2026 World Cup. Now, we're taking a highly strategic look at a group that, honestly, might not be dominating the mainstream sports pages quite yet, but man, it is secretly packing some of the absolute most fascinating player potential for the sports card market. Now, right off the bat, before we jump in, a quick but absolutely crucial reminder. This analysis, it's a strategic look at player potential and market dynamics. It is not financial or investment advice. No way. I'm just here to break down the data, the odds, and the catalysts. You've got to always do your own research.
So instantly, I want you to put your collector mindset on for a second. Ask yourself, who is going to be the secret card market winner of this tournament? Because, here's the reality of the hobby. The biggest financial winners in the card market, they rarely come from the obvious established megastars whose prices are already totally maxed out. The real explosive value is hidden just beneath the surface, just waiting for a breakout moment on the world's biggest stage. And Group D, it is literally overflowing with that exact type of potential. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the underrated Group D. Second, Team USA's market power and home advantage. Third, Turkey's golden generation. Fourth, the wild cards, which are Paraguay and Australia. And finally, we'll wrap up with the top 5 card market investments.
Let's start right off with Section 1, the underrated Group D.
At first glance, a group featuring the USA, Turkey, Paraguay, and Australia, well, it might not seem like the most glamorous collection, but for early investors and strategic collectors, this lack of mainstream hype is precisely what makes it a total goldmine. When we look at the competitive balance and the expected points, a really clear hierarchy pops up. The USA is projected to top the group with 7 points, closely followed by Turkey with 6. Then Paraguay sits there as a pretty dangerous third with 4 expected points, while Australia is projected to struggle a bit with maybe 0 to 1. Now, why does this actually matter for the card market? Well, because team success is the ultimate catalyst for any individual player's card prices. A player could have an amazing game, but if his team goes home in the group stage, boom, his market window slams totally shut. Advancing through this group is basically the prerequisite for any sort of price surge.
Moving on to Section 2, Team USA's market power and home advantage.
So, the United States boasts arguably the most talented squad they've ever sent to a World Cup. Plus, they have the largest domestic sports card market in the world, and they're hosting the whole tournament. Let's look at their baseline probabilities. Bookmakers and analysts are giving the USA a solid 45% chance to win the group and a massive 85% chance to reach the round of 16. That 85% figure, it's highly significant. Historically, the US rarely pushes past the round of 16, but that nearly guaranteed knockout stage appearance provides a really strong, reliable baseline for the American market. Basically, it means US players will get that primetime knockout stage spotlight, and that is exactly what drives collector interest.
All right, so out of a 26-man roster, who actually moves the needle? We've got to filter out the noise here. Our top targets are very specific. First up, we've got Malik Tillman ranked as a buy. We have the face of the franchise, Christian Pulisic, ranked as a hold. And interestingly enough, we have Weston McKennie ranked as a sell. Let me explain the logic behind these specific ratings really quick.
It literally all comes down to where the upside lifts. Just compare Weston McKennie to Malik Tillman. McKennie is a fantastic player, obviously, but from a collector's standpoint, his potential is essentially already priced in. For his cards to see a massive spike, he would need an almost impossibly brilliant, historic tournament. But Malik Tillman, on the other hand, he's the high upside alternative. Collectors are so hyper-focused on Pulisic right now that Tillman is flying completely under the radar. He's got tremendous growth potential, and a strong tournament on home soil could cause his currently accessible prices to absolutely skyrocket.
All right, Section 3, Turkey's golden generation.
Now, Turkey is arguably the most fascinating dark horse team in this entire group, maybe even the whole tournament. They combined experienced veterans with an absolutely explosive golden generation of young talent. Now, what's really interesting here is that 25% chance of making a quarterfinal run. They already have a solid 75% chance of getting out of the group, but if they hit that quarterfinal probability and make the final 8, man, that is the kind of catalyst that ignites a massive market surge. Historically, Turkey doesn't always qualify, but when they do, they can make these incredibly deep, passionate runs, kind of like their legendary third-place finish back in 2002.
And the players driving this potential are just incredible. Systematically looking at them, Arda Güler, who's already starring at Real Madrid, is a strong buy. Kenan Yıldız, a brilliantly technical, globally recognized talent at Juventus, also a strong buy. Ken Uzun, our tournament sleeper, another strong buy. Then you have Hakan Çalhanoğlu. He's a fantastic, established veteran, but we rate him a hold just because his market growth is pretty limited at this point. But those top 3 youngsters? They are backed by an incredibly rabid, passionate Turkish collector base.
Actually, I want to pause on Kenan Yıldız for a second to define an absolutely crucial hobby concept, the sleeper. A sleeper is basically a player with enormous on-pitch potential, but who currently has a very small collector base and just low market attention. Kenan Yıldız isn't as globally famous as Guler or Yildiz right now, but honestly, that is exactly what makes him so appealing. If he simply gets some minutes on the pitch during the World Cup and, say, scores a goal, his card prices will react faster and harder than almost anyone else's. Why? Simply because the entry price right now is so unbelievably low.
Which brings us to Section 4, Paraguay and Australia, the wild cards.
Now, it's really easy to just write off the wild cards, but as a focused learner in the card market, you know that underdogs offer entirely different, highly speculative investment angles that can pay off big time. When we look at the probabilities, the underdog narrative is pretty clear. Paraguay has a 15% chance to win the group, and Australia has just a 5% chance. But don't sleep on Paraguay. They are incredibly dangerous. They have an unbelievably stubborn defense, and remember, in qualifying, they successfully frustrated giants like Brazil and Argentina. If they manage to upset the favorites in advance, the breakout players on these wildcard teams become incredibly intriguing.
So who are the wildcard targets we're looking at? For Paraguay, Julio Enciso is the undeniable face of his generation. We rate him a buy because he has the biggest leverage. I mean, if Paraguay advances, he's going to be the primary reason why, and his market will absorb practically 100% of that hype. Diego Gómez is another great buy for breakout potential there. And then over in Australia, we have Nestory Irankunda. He's young, he's explosive, and he is a pure speculative buy. It's totally high risk, high reward. If the Socceroos somehow survive the group stage, Irankunda is the name everyone will suddenly be searching for on eBay.
Okay, finally, Section 5, the top 5 card market investments.
We've analyzed the teams, the odds, and the individual prospects. Now, these final picks represent the ultimate balance of current price, potential attention, and realistic tournament catalysts. So, let's count it down from 5 to 1. Coming in at number 5, the high-upside American Malik Tillman. At number 4, Paraguay's offensive hope, Julio Enciso. At number 3, our ultimate sleeper, Ken Uzun. At number 2, the Juventus sensation, Kenan Yıldız. And at number 1, Arda Güler. Now just take a second to think about this list. Notice how heavily the Turkish golden generation completely dominates the premium investment spots in this group. They literally take up the entire top 3.
So, the crucial point is exactly why Arda Güler takes the crown here. He possesses the absolute perfect storm of market factors. Think about it. You take his status as a regular at Real Madrid, literally the biggest club in the world. You combine that with the massive global exposure of the World Cup stage. And then you pour gasoline on it with a huge, deeply passionate Turkish collector base. It's basically a mathematical formula for hype. If Turkey reaches the quarterfinals, his rookie cards have the potential to see monumental gains.
And I think that brilliantly illustrates why Group D, a group that kind of flies under the radar for a lot of casual fans, is an absolute goldmine for those of us who are really paying attention. Now I want to hear from you. Which player from Group D do you genuinely believe possesses the biggest card market potential? Drop your breakout pick in the comments. And as always, to close us out, just remember that while we love breaking down the catalysts and the data, this explainer is strictly my strategic opinion. It's not financial advice. Always do your own research before buying in. Thanks so much for learning with us today, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.
Thanks for listening to Card Market Catalyst. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into football card investing, make sure to like and subscribe.